Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Teresa. This is Lost My Thread. Today I want to catch you up with everything I made in the month of April. This feels very much like a bonus video for me. I generally put one video out a week, and I have videos planned for Me Made May that are going to be sticking to the schedule of coming out every weekend. But I had things I wanted to share with you guys, and I felt like I needed to get you up to date with everything I made in April. It was definitely a busier month. I have been back at work full time, and so I expected my sewing output to plummet a little bit. But I actually achieved more than I would have expected. I picked a lot of quicker projects, which I know definitely does help. So as I do with my monthly makes videos, I will be sharing what I made, go through my works in progress. I will then update on my 24 for 2024, and then I'll give a general life update. As ever, there are chapters down below if you want to skip around. If you watched my latest Me Made May video, you may recognize some of these things because I was wearing them pretty much immediately after I made them. In general, when I sew my clothes, I try not to wear them until I've taken photos and done my video talking about them, just because otherwise I'm having to dig through dirty laundry, press things that have gotten really creased, and it just makes the whole process a lot more dragged out. But I have to say, I didn't care. I needed to wear these clothes and they were just so wonderful to wear. Honestly, really excited about those makes. The first one is this. So this is the Harper Cardigan, a free sewing pattern by Sinclair Patterns. It's one that I've seen loads of versions of and it's been on my mind to make. This is I would say like a semi-fitted cardigan. The sleeves in general are fairly loose, but I did hack them to have a balloon sleeve. So this is not part of the original design. I just slashed and spread at the bottom of the sleeve, and the cuff I kept the same size and it worked out really well. This fabric is from the Stitch Festival. I got it from the Pigeon Wishes stalls. I love this fabric so much. It's a really wonderful, lovely sweater knit. I will say this type of sweater knit I don't see that often. It's much more like the kind of sweater knit I would say I see in like ready to wear. It has a really nice weight to it and it looks knitted, so you can see in there it has that knit look to it. The colors are wonderful, the print is so much fun, and I will say because it has a little bit of weight to it, it really does feel like you're having a hug from this cardigan. It is super comfortable. I am a fan of a bishop sleeve, a balloon sleeve, and this one definitely, I feel like it just makes your wrists feel warm and cozy, but also it's really useful if you are wearing other things with big sleeves and you need to put a cardigan over the top. I have recently learned that having a bigger sleeve cardigan or sweater means that everything layers over and it doesn't squash your sleeves down. This has honestly gotten so much wear already. I feel like since I've made it, I feel like I made it 3 weeks ago and I've probably worn it about 10 times. I mean, it's pretty good going. And I will say that this is definitely one I know I'm going to be wearing loads. I generally am happy with the fit. It's not meant to close at the front, and it wouldn't close at the front for me, particularly over the bust. There's just no way. This is meant to have a hemband going around the bottom as well, but I actually ran out of this ribbing fabric that I had. This is actually a cuffing that I got at the Stitch Festival, wanting to make sure that I had a really good match for it. But unfortunately, when I was making it, I didn't have enough, first of all, to have like one continuous piece. It wouldn't fit to go all the way around this binding. So I did have to have a seam that I put at the center back. I mean, I don't think it's a problem. I don't think anyone's particularly seeing it. It's under my hairline, but that is one extra seam I added, and then I decided to put the binding at the top of the pockets. I don't think that was probably in the instructions, but I just thought that would tie it all together really well, and I'm so glad that I did. But yeah, I didn't have enough to go all around the bottom hem, so I just folded it up and stitched it down. Honestly, I think it looks great. I don't think it looks like it's missing, and as I have it as it is, I'm not even sure that I would have wanted it there had I had any more of that cuffing. I used 2 packs of it, and I felt like, honestly, that was good. Love this cardigan, wearing it all the time. Highly recommend this pattern, especially doing a little slash and spread sleeve hack. Love it. The next one to show you guys is again from the Stitch Festival fabric that I got. I was obviously very excited and I did not wait to make these things up. So this is I will call it a quilted vest. You can call it a gilet. It's called the Everyday Waistcoat, so it's also called a waistcoat. It's a pattern from New Craft House. I wanted to use this pattern because it has very simple lines. I have a really nice quilted vest pattern, but there's princess seams and I did not want to break up this fabric. So this fabric came from the Fabric Godmother. I fell in love with it as soon as I saw it. This is very much the kind of color that I wear quite a lot. It is in theory reversible. You can use either side of this fabric, and I did have a bit of a time trying to decide, ooh, did I want to make the pockets reverse? Did I want to keep it, you know, the same side? I'm happy with the choices that I made. This binding around the pocket was also not on the original instruction. I just thought it would look really nice and it would tie everything together. This fabric that I have for the binding as well, I picked up at the Stitch Festival. It was just meterage of quilting cotton, and I just loved how those colors worked well together. I also put a label in there that I got from the Fabric Godmother stall. So when you go to the Stitch Festival Knitting and Stitching Show, if you go wearing Fabric Godmother designed fabric, so clothes with their fabrics, they give you a free sewing label. And I completely forgot. I just went up to the stall and I was looking around and one of them was like, oh, here, you get one of these. So it seemed appropriate to put it inside here, seeing as I got this fabric at the Stitch Festival. And the inside, I decided to do bias bound seams. So everything is really beautifully finished, all on the inside. Now I would say in theory, I could reverse this and wear it the other way around, but I don't think I would do. I don't think I would want all those exposed seams. As pretty as they are, I wouldn't want to wear it that way. And I think the main other thing I did different, I did pretty much following the instructions. I didn't do the tie at the front. So there's a tie that I just decided to not put on there because I knew I wasn't going to tie it and I liked the look without. I have been surprised with how much I've been enjoying wearing quilted vests since I've made one, and I did think it would be good to get another one in my wardrobe. I probably could do with one that's a bit more neutral, but this one was just so much fun. I had to do it, and I'm really happy that I have. It is cute, it is cozy, and it very much suits my style. Next up is a matching two-piece set that I am genuinely thrilled about. This is another one that I've been wearing because I had to, and that is the Peppermint Pocket Skirt from Peppermint Magazine, designed by LB Textiles. Paper Theory? I'll put it up on the screen. Suddenly I've lost confidence. And a matching Brea Tee by Halfmoon Atelier. This is my go-to like favorite woven tee pattern. Super simple, really quick to put together. And I thought this would be a really cute set that I can wear together, and they would look like a dress, but I can also wear them separately. It is such a success. So this skirt I have made before in the same fabric but in a different color. So this is a viscose linen slub, a viscose linen noil fabric. I love this fabric. It is probably my favorite fabric to work with. It is really lovely and drapey. Again, it has a little weight to it, so it just hangs really beautifully and it swooshes around really beautifully as well. And this color, I don't know, I think the photos are honestly pretty accurate. It is the most fantastic, vibrant raspberry pink. To me, it's a very juicy color, as weird as that sounds. That to me is like the best word for it. It is just delightful. I love this color so, so much. And having the full two-piece set that I can have like essentially a dress is just really fun. I loved wearing it. I'm really, really happy to have both of these pieces in my wardrobe. I've also worn the skirt separately because I know I love the Peppermint Pocket Skirt. I don't know what took me so long to make a second version, because I know this skirt is going to be getting worn all spring, all summer, as long as I can wear it into the fall as well. The top as well, I know, is such a good shape for me. Obviously being tucked in, you're not going to be able to see fully what it looks like, but essentially it's sort of semi-fitted. You will see, because I will talk about the Brea Tee in a moment. There's another version you'll be able to understand the fit of it. But in general, I'm just really pleased with how both of these pieces came out. I did add sewing labels to these as well. I don't always, but the Peppermint Pocket Skirt, it's hard to tell the front from the back. To be honest, I don't know. The front and the back are separate pieces. I'm not really sure how they vary. Maybe the back piece is wider, but it's not always easy to tell what the front and the back is when you're putting it on if you don't have a label. So I added this one. This is an Intensely Distracted label. I Was Made for You, whoops, and Only You. And this is a woven cotton label, which is my favorite kind of label. It's not scratchy at all. It's really nice and soft, and it's super cute. And then for the top, it's a bit cheeky. So I had my Made in 2024 label on my quilted vest, and I've had this label knocking around for a while. and I wanted to use it. Circa 2022. Now, I don't know if Kylie and the Machine don't realize or if people just tend to go with trying to use the year that the label is printed from, but circa doesn't mean that this is made in 2022. Circa 2022 means it was made sometime around approximately 2022. And I thought, you know what, I'm getting further from that year. I need to just go on and sew this into something because it amuses me to have circa 2022 for my garment made in 2024. But that's another top where the front and the back are difficult to tell apart. So I definitely wanted to put something in there. And that is another cotton woven label. Again, I really do not love having scratchy labels, especially if they're going to be right up against the skin. But these are not soft, or these are not scratchy. They're really comfortable. And it's just a little extra fun when you put your clothes on in the morning. I'm also really happy to be wearing this top today because this is a bit of a upcycle, refashion, alteration of a top that I made and I shared for So Frugal. It was the Peppermint boxy top initially, and I just did not love the shape of it on me. It was really boxy, as the name suggested, but I felt like just generally the style wasn't great. But key thing is when I lifted my arm, the armhole was so big you could see a significant portion of my bra, and that was not something I was going to be able to wear. And so I really did love the top and I wanted to make it work, and I did. So my plan, which worked out really well, was to take the pattern that I had and separate the front and the back pieces and recut the piece out to be the Brea Tee by Halfmoon Atelier. So you'll be able to see a little bit more what the fit of this top is like when I show you pictures of this. But basically the key difference is I had still kept this yoke section, which I really like this design detail. So this was all made with fabric scraps as well, so it was great to be able to use all those bits. But I really like this yoke detail and definitely want to try doing it on other projects just in general. But I changed, well, the key differences are the fit, so it generally is more fitted. There is a thinner binding now that goes around the armhole. I felt like that really chunky band around the sleeve just did not suit me. It was just not good for my proportions. The bottom hemband as well I removed because, again, I just didn't feel like it was a good length for me. It just was adding fullness where there wasn't fullness. So I made the Brea Tee by trimming that hemband off. So this is definitely a more cropped version than I would typically wear it. But it's actually really good because it goes really well with higher waisted skirts and trousers. It is just long enough that I could tuck it in if I wanted to. It's such a beautiful top, and I love this fabric, and I'm really glad that I was able to make it work. So it's, you know, a good example of one of those times where, you know, if you're really not happy with something, if you're not satisfied, don't just sit on it and just, you know, feel sad whenever you put it on or leave it in the wardrobe. If you can just make some tweaks to make it better and you'll then wear it, it is so worth it. It doesn't usually take very long, those kinds of tweaks. Making this whole top again probably took me about an hour, hour and a half. And I have now a full top that I really love and I know that I'm going to be wearing. I've also got a bit of a funny one to share with you guys, but it is something that I sewed, and I'm honestly, like, it's one of the things that I'm the most happy with that I made this month. My husband and I recently wanted to get some new bath mats for our bathroom, and we both like to have a pedestal mat, so it goes around the toilet as well. So if we get up in the middle of the night and we're barefoot and we need to go to the bathroom, the floor isn't cold. And in general, I will say those are pretty hard to come by where I live. We have gotten them before, but it seems like suddenly they've gone out of fashion. Maybe people don't think they're hygienic. Totally fair enough. We all gotta make our own choices, but I will say I wash it really regularly. There's no splashing around our toilet. We put the lid down when we flush. I'm not overly concerned about the hygiene element, but I am more concerned about having cold feet if I get up in the night and I don't have any socks on. So what I decided to do, I'd seen these really beautiful Habitat brand bath mats from Sainsbury's. So Sainsbury's, if you're in the UK, is now owns Habitat from what I understand, or they've joined together. And I really love the colors. I really love the overall look of the bath mat, but there was no pedestal mat version. And so I took the pedestal mat that I had and I traced around, or I didn't even trace, I just with a pair of scissors trimmed around to get the same shape from a second bath mat. I took the binding that was going around the top edge that I trimmed off and added binding to my new bath mat, which is now shaped like a pedestal mat. So this will go around the bottom of the toilet seat. Toilet seat? the toilet. Now, I will say it looks nice from the top, so you really wouldn't particularly know. I tried to keep generally the same look. I had a really good match for the thread as well. I was surprised. I just happened to have it. The back is not beautiful. The back is just, it's some like, you know, I was making sure the front looked better, but it's there, it's secure, and I really don't care. No one's seeing the bottom of this bath mat. But that was one of those things where I feel like it took me probably a good like 3 weeks of hunting around, trying to find a good pedestal mat, trying to make sure it was going to be nice quality. And actually, when I realized like I could just do that myself, I feel like the whole project, no joke, probably took like 20 minutes. And I was just so satisfied. It's just a really nice feeling to just be able to do something for yourself rather than relying on somebody else to do it for you. So that was a big win for me. I do have a couple of works in progress that are just going to be sitting there until June, because May I am going on a scrap busting frenzy, so that is all I am sewing in May. But I did cut out 2 projects in April that I'll be working on in June. One is I'm making the Anna Allen Anthea blouse, and I've been wanting to make another one of these. I made one and I absolutely love it. And I'm using this really gorgeous Fabric Godmother linen, another one that I picked up from the Stitch Festival. Guys, I was seriously inspired by that stuff. I did not want it to sit around. I wanted to use it up. This fabric is really wonderful, and they had made the Anthea blouse out of it, and there was a sample there, and it just looked so, so perfect. I knew that was what I wanted to do. I'm still on the fence about the neckline, so there is a hack, which is what I did before, where it lowers the neckline a little bit. I initially cut it out just like the standard pattern, and you can just trim the neckline down using a pattern piece that you can download from Anna Allen's website. And I was tempted to maybe just see what the higher neckline is like. I don't think it's going to be particularly great for me. I don't feel like I like too high of a neck, but then this is high. So, you know, who knows? I feel like when it's more of a boat neck, I'm okay with it, but I'm going to find out. So I am excited to make that up in June. And the other project that I have cut out is the Avery leggings from Helen's Closet. I've had this pattern for a while, and it's been on my mind of something that I wanted to make. I want to start doing some jogging, some running around to get a little bit of cardio. I do a lot of yoga, but I wanted to be a little bit more active. But I don't have lots of like workout clothes. I'm not necessarily looking to build a whole wardrobe, but at least just having a pair of leggings would be really useful. But I also do want to, if I'm going to be jogging around, I want to have somewhere to put my keys and somewhere to put my phone if I'm going to be, say, like listening to music or a podcast or something. So there is a hack on the Helen's Closet website to put a side panel pocket, and so I've decided to go ahead and do that. So I cut out all the pieces out. It's pretty straightforward to put together. I just haven't managed to get around to it. The fabric that I have is just a black fabric. This is called Micro Modal Jersey from Guthrie and Ghani. Now, the thing that is supposed to be really good about this fabric, it has really good stretch and recovery. I will say it pings right back. Somebody else has told me they used this for one of their sewing, I think they're called Sewing Society, whatever. They're like kits that they have. And apparently this is like the best fabric to use for leggings. It doesn't show through when it stretches. I mean, I have to say, it does, I'm seeing through it, but maybe it doesn't stretch that much. But I've been assured it's supposed to be really good for leggings, doesn't show your underwear, really good coverage, and it is super soft, I have to say. And it has drape. I mean, I don't need drape because it's going to be leggings. They're going to be skin tight anyway. But I think those will just be useful to have in my wardrobe when I sew them up in June. Now, I am very excited to get on with my 24 for 2024 update because I have some stuff to cross off this month. If you guys are not familiar with my 24 for 2024, they are 24 things that I want to do in this year. They're not necessarily hugely ambitious things, but things that if I don't put them on the list, I might not get around to. I talked about that in my sewing resolutions video, which I will put a link to up here and down in the description box if you want to see more about my goals. But yeah, I have a few to cross off with you guys today. The first one to cross off is master making the perfect chai. Now, I know some of you guys have been waiting for this. I've been talking about it in all my monthly makes videos this year. I really love chai tea, masala chai, spicy Indian tea, but there are so many different recipes for it, different spices you can use, different ratios, and I wanted to figure out what my favorite spice blend was. And I'm happy to say attempt number 25 was the winning chai. So it's pretty wonderful to know now. I can just follow my recipe, make my chai, and I know it's going to be wonderful. I'll put in a little video footage of me just briefly talking through how I make my chai, but I have a very big mug, and this was something that made me realize I actually had to use more tea than I was expecting because it's a big old mug that I like to drink out of. It's actually 1 3/4 cups. So you start off by filling your mug of water really quite full because you get a little bit of steam coming off. Put that into a pot. To that you add your spices. So I like 3 cardamom pods crushed, about a 1-inch piece of ginger washed and smashed, 3 cloves, about 1 inch of a cinnamon stick, and a whole star anise. I also like to add 1/2 teaspoon of demerara sugar. So demerara sugar is also called sugar in the raw, unbleached sugar. That's definitely my sugar of preference for tea and coffee. Don't have it that often with them, but I do like it for my chai. Just 1/2 teaspoon, I don't want to go overboard. And I will then heat that up until it comes to a rapid boil. And you want to keep that boiling for 3 minutes to get all those spices to go into the water before I then add the tea. So because it's a big cup of tea, I actually have to go for 1.5 teaspoons of tea, and I will then put it right down to very low heat and let that heat on the hob for 3 minutes. I then add my milk to taste, and I will say I like a pretty good splash of milk. It's more about looking at the color of the chai, and you're kind of looking for like a caramelly brown color, and then you have to turn the heat right up until that starts to boil up, and then strain it and you're good to go. It will be super hot when you first make it, so if you try this, give it a good while before you take the first sip, but I'm delighted to have my own favorite chai recipe. I will be popping it down in the description box. Let me know if you try it. I want to know how you get on with it. So here we go. Number 12 on my list, master making the perfect chai. Really nice to be able to cross things off this list. And one more that I get to cross off is completing a 30-day yoga journey in 30 days. So I typically do the Yoga with Adriene 30-day yoga journeys in January, but because I was having problems with my hand and my wrist, I wasn't able to do yoga that frequently, and I wasn't able to do a lot of the poses. But because my hand and my wrist have been improving enough, I felt like I could have a go with it and do this year's 30-day yoga journey. And I did it every single day for 30 days. Always really nice feeling to get through the end of it, and I get to cross that baby off as well. So number 13, complete a 30-day yoga journey is done. I have also been continuing to read my R.H. Blythe haiku books for spring. I'm reading 1 per season, and I will put in the description box any of the haiku that I particularly liked this month, as well as any of the E. Cummings poems that stood out to me from the complete E. Cummings poetry book that I'm also reading. The last one I get to cross off is taking 10 books out from the library. So I took 3 more books out last month, and I think that took me to maybe 11 or 12. But it's really nice for me. The main thing, honestly, about wanting to take books out from the library is just more get into the habit of doing it. I love reading. When I have library books, I tend to read them immediately because I'm excited. I have them, I have a deadline, and I get through more books that way. I really love reading, but I feel like it's something that can just not be a priority for me, and I just don't get around to doing it over all the other things that I'm doing. But it was really nice to be able to take all those books out and give them a read, and now I can cross that one off too. Number 18. I also have a lot of plans for things that are on that list, so I feel like I'm really on track to work through a lot of those this year. I have plans next week because it is my birthday. My husband and I are going to have a mini break in Rye to visit Merchant and Mills, which I am super excited about. I will have to give you guys an update when I go. I know it's going to be wonderful. I know I'm going to get some beautiful fabrics, and I can get to cross that one off the list. As far as my life updates, I think the main thing to talk about is how things have been going with my recovery, with my hand and my wrist. Anyone who's been following my channel for a while knows that I've been having problems with my ulnar nerve, which goes from my funny bone to my pinky and my ring finger. It's kind of annoying because I feel like if you'd asked me about it like 4 or 5 days ago, I'd probably be saying something completely different. But let's just say in general, there's been a lot of really positive progress. So like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm now back at work full time, which has been really nice, but I was doing admin for quite a while because I was waiting to get all the right equipment for me to be doing home visits. I got all the equipment last week, and unfortunately it turned out to be incredibly busy. I have no idea what was going on with all the women in London all having babies at the same time. I'm a midwife, if you do not know, and we have been so busy. It's just been wild. It is not a typical time to be busy. So I've been doing more visits than I typically would be. I've been working more days than I typically should be. And in the end, I've ended up now with a lot more soreness just over the last couple of days, but that's just because of pushing myself. So I know that if I give myself a rest, which I will, I'm off next week for my birthday, things will go back to where they were. In general, like I said, I was able to do 30 days of yoga without really any problems with my hand. I've been able to do planks again. I've been able to even do a couple of side planks. So I know that things are way, way better than they were at the beginning of the year, at the end of last year. So it's slow progress, and you're gonna have little ups and downs, bumps in the road. This is just part of healing. I still feel like I'm headed in the right direction, even if I'm a little bit more sore today. I just need to listen to my body and take it easy when my body says I need to. Life has otherwise been honestly really pretty good around my parts. We've been having some beautiful sunshine and springy weather interspersed with lots of heavy rain, because that is just the way London and the way England is this time of year. It is looking really glorious and beautiful next week for at least the second part of my week off. So hoping that I get some really beautiful weather when I have my little mini break. I will be giving you guys updates on all of that in my May makes video next month. Please do let me know if there are any questions about any of the makes that I made, any thoughts about them. I feel like I made a lot of really good things. I know that I'm going to be wearing a load. It was a really good month for me. If you did enjoy my video, please do give me a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you want to catch future videos. I'll be seeing you guys soon. Bye!